Today on the channel, the waiting is the hardest part, and today on the channel, we're unboxing Zombie Sailor Heels and Faces Series 2, Kevin Sullivan, and Bruiser Brody.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another retro wrestling figure unboxing and review. And today on the channel, we got the highly anticipated, long-awaited Zombie Sailor Series 2 Heels and Faces. And today we're kicking off these unboxings with Kevin Sullivan, the devil himself, and Bruiser Brody. But of course, for all your wrestling figure needs that are not Heels and Faces, make sure you're hitting up Ringside Collectibles. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 10%. Got to get a deal out there. And of course, we're going to do this unboxing like we do all the other unboxings on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. We're going to start it off with the devil himself, Kevin Sullivan. Can we get a Purple Haze figure after this as well? We get Kevin Sullivan in all of his Florida glory, I guess is what we would call this one, when people truly thought he was the devil. They thought he was truly sitting there bowing down at the altar of Satan back in the day. And then, of course, we know Kevin Sullivan later went to the WCWs of the world. He was in ECW for a little bit as well. He was the Taskmaster. He was all over the place, of course, but really got his start and really made his name in this incarnation right here. And quite the wild-looking Kevin Sullivan figure. And Kevin Sullivan, a guy that's been around a long time in the wrestling industry, but not a lot of action figures. We do know, of course, he did get a Jakks Classic Superstars figure that was a really, really good figure with a nice robe to it. And then he got some WCW original San Francisco Toymaker figures, which kind of iffy at best, a little iffy. But this one could be the best Kevin Sullivan figure of all time. We're just going to have to find out. There's only one way to find out. It's to take a look at the packaging on this one. And of course, Zombie Sailor, we're unboxing all these on the channel, and it took forever to get these figures to us. I am glad they're here. And now Zombie is truly on the clock because he said the wait times are going to be shrunk down. We shouldn't have these year-plus waits going forward. I hope he is a man of his word. I hope that is the case going forward because we need to close up that time. 6-month wait time, maybe 8 months. But none of us want to wait a year and a half to 2 years for things going forward. That is for sure. But definitely the packaging design locks in with Series 1. Very, very much on brand. I like what we're doing. We got uniform packaging, same style card art, same cuts to it, things like that. Got a big glamour shot of old Kevin Sullivan right there. You got the figure here. No chance it's going to fall off. Nice tight window box on there. You got Heels and Faces, of course. As I say, official wrestling Heels and Faces, ages 18 and up. Really promoting old Ron Rudat in the corner there. Kevin Sullivan autograph, Zombie Sailor toys. Kevin Sullivan in the very retro style look down there on the bottom, looking really good. And looking good in the package. No real issues with Kevin Sullivan. Of course, the back, there's a lot going on in the back. Let's describe it. Let's see what's going on back here. Of course, we got Nick Gage, Bruiser Brody, Raven, Kevin Sullivan, King Kong Bundy, Andre the Giant in Series 2. We're unboxing all those on the channel, so make sure you do subscribe. There is going to be a blue strap Andre the Giant. That is going up Thanksgiving weekend, I think is when that is, Black Friday. So be on the lookout for that. And it looks like the next series, we're going to have Slick, we're going to have Power and Glory. Bastion Booger should be here any day now, hopefully. One Man Gang, Jack Tunney around the corner. And there's going to be a 2-pack, of course, Matt Cardona, Nick Gage. Some repaint action, but a lot of, really is a repaint, but really not a repaint because there's a lot of extras with that one. So that's coming down the line as well. Promotes the Ron Rudat blueprint, going back to the old Hasbro days, getting him to draw the art for it. Got Zombie Sailor points. Will they go anywhere? It'll be interesting to see if those are ever really collectible. And then you get the file card down at the bottom, Wrestling Heels and Faces, Kevin Sullivan. Height 5'9", 250 pounds, from Boston, Massachusetts. The Prince of Darkness will stop at nothing to please his master, the devil himself. Sullivan is the leader of the diabolical faction full of misfits known as the Army of Darkness. Kevin is accompanied to the ring by his beautiful yet sinister valet, the Fallen Angel. Of course, old former woman Nancy Sullivan, as we do know. And he's leading misfits known as the Army of Darkness. And I think Bruce Campbell made a movie about that. I could be wrong. Somebody look into that as well. But it does look really good. No issues with the packaging, like what I'm seeing here. But the time has come. The time to get him off the packaging is here. And I hate this. I would love to be an inbox collector on these. I just can't do both. I mean, if Zombie wanted to send me a set, hey, I'll keep a set on card. I would definitely do that. But I'm going one and done. There it is right there, looking good. Kevin Sullivan, see you later, goodbye. And now we're down to business with old Kevin Sullivan here. And very interestingly enough, got tape on his back, and you got the chain. Very interesting. So we're taped up on the back, and it looks like we got the chain wrapped up, I think is what they're doing here. Okay, we're going to pull that through. Got the tape. We're going to give this the old see you later, goodbye stickiness. And that wraps up that little chain. And this is a very creepy chain. It's like a dog collar leash is what this is. Got to be the smallest chain I've ever seen in my life. I do got one little bad kind of spot in the chain that you can see. Hopefully that doesn't wear out and break on me. But I do got one little piece of chain that has a little weird indentation in it that looks like it might not be as strong as we want it to be. But that is a very long chain. It is a lot longer than him. So make note of that there. But it is a very creepy chain. Like, you know, the woman's going to pull him around, the fallen angel and stuff, carry him like a leash, basically. But I'm going to wrap that around his head just to kind of keep it out of the way for the review here. You're going to have to figure out how to display it. Maybe wrap it around his hands, something like that. We'll see what we end up doing. But we're going to start with the head sculpt on old Kevin Sullivan. You got the tongue deep out there. You got the eyes kind of back in the head there. He's worshiping the devil. He's speaking in tongues. He's doing that whole thing right there. Looking good. Got a nice beard going on with Kevin Sullivan. Got the face paint going on underneath the eyes. Got the X on the middle of the forehead, like a young Charles Manson, really, at the end of the day. And then you got that kind of dirty blonde hair going on. Now, I'm very familiar with Kevin Sullivan, obviously, more so to his WCW time frame, of course, growing up. I didn't get to watch a lot of Florida stuff, just on tape trading, things like that. But I don't know. If you gave me this head and said, who is this? I think I'd guess Kevin Sullivan, but I'm not 100% sure I'd guess Kevin Sullivan. Now, if you grew up in Florida wrestling, maybe you would know this right off the bat. It might take me a second to kind of think through it and go through the mental Rolodex, but it's definitely a much younger Kevin Sullivan, no doubt about it, in this version here. But it does look really good in the head sculpt department. He does got that leash that is sculpted in around his collar here. He's got the collar with the leash connected to it. And the chain, of course, we already talked about a little bit. He's got some spikes on his forearms here, sculpted in once again. Nice spikes to it, like a young Demolition, really. Down to the black gloves. And then the hot pink, pinkish purple, once again, trunks on old Kevin Sullivan. Got the S down there for Sullivan, of course. And then you got black boots going on, and that's kind of how he looks. Now, the skin tone color on him has a nice shine to it. Looks really, really good. A little peach color, a little pinkish peach, maybe. You'd think if he was down in Florida weather, he'd get a little bit more sun. But, the devil, you know, he wants you representing underneath ground, I think, is what he wants him to do. So he's not seeing a ton of sunlight there. I do got a little paint smudge action at the top of the boots here. I'm not surprised you're going to see that with anything there, but a little paint splatter going on. Besides that, seemingly no issues there. Articulation, of course, arms go all the way around for us. We got hand articulation side to side. He's got two open hands on him. You get the head back forth side to side. You get waist articulation, and that's where it ends right there. That is all the articulation you're going to get here with old Kevin Sullivan. But looking good, and I think for a lot of people, maybe the weakest link in this line very well could be. I have no problems with Kevin Sullivan. I feel like he's very underrepresented in the action figure game. I just think out of everybody in this series, he might be the least popular of the bunch. But you guys can tell me that in the comments. Does he fit on a ringside collectible stand? What do you know? Use discount code Kyle, save 10% at Ringside Collectibles. Make sure you get a Mattel stand, hopefully back in stock sooner rather than later. But Kevin Sullivan fits perfectly on a stand right there. But now we're going to turn our attention to the old main event. Old Bruiser Brody, an all-time favorite of mine. Of course, I never got to see Bruiser Brody live, stuff like that. Never in my area. A lot of his time before my time, and probably some of your guys' times as well. But a legend that looms very large, be it in Japan, be it in Texas, be it all over the world. Blood feuds across the galaxy, really, at the end of the day, with Bruiser Brody, and an all-time favorite. And I always found it interesting that we have the same alma mater, kinda, as I did graduate from Iowa State University. Shout out to the Cyclones out there. Bruiser Brody also attended Iowa State. Unfortunately, unlike me, he was kicked out of college. I made it through. He didn't get through quite at Iowa State. Then he went down to Texas. The rest was history there. But Bruiser Brody, probably the most popular one in this set. You could argue that, of course, but one I'm looking forward to the most, I guess I would say here. Now, one caveat with this figure here is if you were part of the early pre-order, you got him with the fur jacket. So there's going to be a variant out there. The regular release is not going to have the fur jacket. So this is going to be a very valuable figure down the line. I hate to unbox this thing, but we got to do it for science, as we usually do. Mr. Wizard passed away many years ago, and I took over the mantle. So we're going to do it for science here today. Bruiser Brody looking good with that fur jacket. Just remember, you're going to see some of these on card in the future that don't have that jacket, and this one should be the one that's more valuable. So FYI, if you're hunting, looking, whatever, just remember that. Heels and faces, Ron Rudat. You got Bruiser Brody looking like a crazed person right there. You got the figure, of course. Tight carding on this one, no issues there. On the back, we got that same cross-sell on the back we saw. We're going to unbox all these on the channel, so stay tuned. Make sure you do subscribe, as I always do say. We got the card down here. We got one more Zombie Sailor point right here. But it does say, Bruiser Brody, height 6'8", 300 pounds, from Santa Fe, New Mexico. Absolutely beautiful this time of year. The legendary Bruiser Brody has been involved in some of the wildest matches the pro wrestling world has ever seen. Easy for me to read. Fans running terror as Bruiser Brody makes his way to the ring, swinging his chain like a maniac. And Brody's arch rival is Abdullah the Butcher, which would be a good Zombie Sailor figure in the future. I could see that. And they could also do a 2-pack variant edition with those two bloody versions. I think that'd be a really cool one for Zombie Sailor. Maybe we'll see that in the future. I know Abdullah the Butcher's really struggling these days. I'm sure he could sign him to him, get that going for us. So Zombie, if you're probably already a step ahead of us, but an Abby Bruiser 2-pack I think would be a license to print money. How about that? But without further ado, let's get him out of the package. I hate to do it, but we're going to do it. We're doing it. Oh, we're doing it. We've gone too far. We can't turn around now. There it goes. All right, we got it. But I got to get this little chain out. Can I get this little chain? We got a little chain here. See you later. Goodbye. There is a little chain. So Kevin Sullivan and him, very similar in the chain. They're part of the chain gang is what we're going to say right here. Can I get this chain? Oh my gosh, it's in there. It's in there, and there it goes. See you later right off the screen. But we do get the littlest chain ever for Bruiser Brody right here. Nice attention to detail. We get another chain, a little bit. I say the littlest chain ever. Kevin Sullivan's got the littlest chain ever. This is a hair bigger, but we do got a nice silver chain to go with Brody, of course. We know how he does. He likes to swing that around, things like that. But now we get down to Bruiser Brody himself, and we get the fur-lined boots here. Feels really, really nice. The black boots, got the socks, of course. He always had those socks up over the boots, and then his patented left knee brace or knee sleeve, whatever you want to call it. He always had that, as we do know. Same with the arm sleeve to match there on the left. Classic Hasbro position here. He's got the arm one. The old Greg the Hammer Valentine Macho King. Many had this look. One of the best playing retro style figures of all time is this position here. But and then you get the fur jacket right here as well as another accessory. Now this jacket is removable on him. I will say I am feeling a little bad right here because I have staining from this jacket. So I don't know if you guys have unboxed these or not, but unfortunately this fur jacket is staining the figure. So not good. We pay a lot for these figures. We wait a long time. We don't want stained figures. Now for me, I'm going to leave this jacket on him. So that helps with some of the staining, obviously, but nobody likes stained figures, as we do know. We've seen that a lot. We see it from Mattel. We see it from Jazzwares. Now we're seeing it from Zombie Sailors. Yeah, I do have a whole ring on both shoulders from the staining from this jacket. So might not be a bad thing if you want one without the jacket. Maybe the jacket isn't the way to go. I don't know. But I am shocked to see staining on the plastic on this one. I wouldn't have expected that, especially from Zombie Sailor. He's pretty meticulous on these kind of things. So I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do about the staining there. I don't think there's any going back at this point, unfortunately. But yeah, definitely have staining, more so on the right than the left. I think it just kind of depends where your arms are. And then I got it on the inside of the bicep as well. So staining on this figure from this jacket. As cool as this jacket is, real fur and everything, it's got a nice material on the inside. Unfortunately, staining going on right there. So not good. Not a big fan of that, as you guys know firsthand from watching the channel over the years. But articulation, we do got the arms that move. Okay, we got the arm that moves there. You get the side to side at the elbow. And we get a little side to side is there as well. So a little added articulation. And then it goes in and out, of course. Hand, nope. Hand, no articulation on the hands on this one. You do get head articulation back and forth. You do get waist articulation. And that is it right there. Now, the head is what we got to talk about right here. And all day long, this looks like Bruiser Brody. Got that wild hair that he always had. A nice brown color. A little bit of color in there. A little bit of grays in the beard as well. Big, bushy mustache. Got his voice. You can just hear his voice saying, "Hush, hush," something like that, you know. And then you got the patented blade scars in his forehead, which is key to Brody. And we did talk about Power Town. Much like Greg Valentine getting all these figures, Bruiser Brody getting a lot of figures lately. We did get a Power Town figure. I actually have that right here. I really like this Power Town figure. Unfortunately, I think they went a little too crazy with the red and the blood, kind of the blade scars there. He did have it after a match or two, so I guess it's not totally inaccurate, but I would have liked to seen Power Town do what Zombie Sailor did. Have it a little bit lighter, have it sculpted in. I think it looks better in this way here. For me, at least, it does. I didn't mention the black trunks on him, but it's pretty much on point with Bruiser Brody here. But a very, very good figure from Brody. I really like this Brody figure a whole lot. Unfortunately, the staining does take it down a notch. It does hurt things a little bit because, yeah, it's only going to get worse if you leave this on. And I don't know, can you wash this? I guess you could, but it is just unfortunate. We pay a lot for our figures. We shouldn't have staining. There's got to be a way to figure that out. Or I guess you put this in here just sideways, loose in the package instead of on the figure. I don't know. You got to figure something out there, though. But pretty disappointed that we got staining there. It really took away a lot of the luster for this figure for me because I never in a million years expected to have staining on the figure. But it is what it is as of this point. But it is still a very good figure, and I guess I'll put the fur coat, fur jacket back on him. It'll be all right in the end. I guess it'll cover up the staining, but it'll probably stain it a little bit more. That's just the way it goes. But like I said, there is two versions of this, one with fur coat, one without. The one without, of course, will not have a staining issue. So make note of that. And then, of course, a lot of people, I'd say it's 50-50, if not 60-40. Most people keeping these on the card. And if you keep it on the card, you're never going to have to worry about it. It's never going to be a big deal for you. But if you're one that unboxes these, just be aware there's going to probably be some staining on the fur coat. So it is what it is. Make your decision from there. But what are your guys' thoughts? Round one of Zombie Sailor's Heels and Faces. We got Bruiser Brody, Kevin Sullivan. Any thoughts out of you guys on these two? Is it a pickup? Is it a pass? Are you waiting for a deal? Are you waiting for a sale? It'd be interesting to see how well these do go. And, of course, he fits on a ringside stand as well and had to do that. But it'll be interesting to see Series 3 when that goes up and how quick they can move Series 3 into our hands. We'll stay tuned for all that kind of stuff. And, of course, you guys let me know your thoughts on these two figures in the comments down below. And, of course, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bells. We got videos every single day and then some. We got even more content for you on the Patreon channel. Patreon, the best way to support the channel and all the content it does bring. You can also support the channel over there at Pro Wrestling Tees. Search Kyle Peterson, and don't forget social media, SirPaul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads and on Instagram. So for Kevin Sullivan, the devil himself, and Bruiser Brody, I am Kyle. See you guys all real soon.